Hello and welcome back to the Florida Men Gaming. My name is Furyan, and today we are talking about Andor. Why do you ask? Because why not? It's been a hot minute since we've been on the channel. Been a hot minute since there's been an upload, and I thought, you know what? Let's have a little fun. Let's talk about some popular culture. Just, change the pace up of the channel a little bit, because as much as I've tried to get things to happen, certain things, it's easier sometimes to just talk about things you're passionate about. In this case, I'm passionate about, just general content, Star Wars, things like that, and thought, let's talk about the problem that is Andor. So, for anyone out there who is a fan of the current Disney crop of products, I would say that in some cases I'm among the fans, and in some cases I'm most definitely not. If it's The Mandalorian, huge fan. Book of Boba Fett, huge fan. Rogue One, I thought was absolutely brilliant. But when it comes to something like Andor, there's a problem, and it's a problem that's laced throughout all of Disney Star Wars. We're going to talk about that. So, if you're watching any Star Wars related YouTube, you would know that Andor is receiving fawning reviews from a lot of creators. They're saying it's the best Star Wars content we've ever gotten, it's exactly what we've always wanted and needed, and while visually it is stunning, I would have to disagree on the best concept that they keep floating. And there's a big reason for that. Andor is, in my mind, a little bit of a pickle. I feel that Andor does something that nobody asked for, and that is feature a character that nobody cares about. And you know what? I could be made to care for Andor, except for the fact that in Rogue One, when he was introduced, he was an intriguing character, but his story came to a very abrupt and really fitting end given where that story ended up going. Didn't need any more from Andor. So unlike the Skywalker saga with, Darth Vader kind of needing a little bit of a broader backstory after the sudden revelation that he is the father of the protagonist of the original trilogy, Andor didn't need anything else. He had his nice, tidy story wrapped up with a beautiful death on a beach because the Death Star decided to shoot the planet he was on. So when Disney came out and said, hey, we're doing a bunch of new Star Wars content, we're going to open up the universe, and they started with shows like The Mandalorian. Mandalorian was exciting. It was a culture in this galaxy that we all were intrigued by but never had a really deep dive into. It was a character that was not part of the main Skywalker saga, so at no point did you feel like you had any idea where his character arc was going. And they've done a really good job of threading some of those characters into it to give you some little fan service moments and just some fan favorites coming back on scene. But then taking those same characters and moving them away so that you're not worried that anything that you're involved in is going to end up very predictably dead. Andor, on the other hand, is a show that is modeled episodically like The Clone Wars, which is a fantastic show. But The Clone Wars did something that Andor's trying to copy, and that is it put its episodes out in several episode blocks. So you'd get 1 to 2 episodes of build-up, followed by a climactic finish to whatever story and saga they were trying to put together for you that particular week. And as a result, it was a really great show. And because you were getting some deeper, broader exploration, you were getting some nuance to characters like the clones, it was effective in what it did. The problem here with Andor is you can't effectively build up a lot of great tension around a character whose ultimate fate we know. So, as an example, in the first 3 episodes, and my wife and I had a long conversation about this, in the first 3 episodes of Andor, what do we get? We get 2 episodes of build-up, showing how scummy a guy Andor is, followed by the climactic battle sequence that takes place after, momentary little action moments in the first episodes, but nothing big. The pinnacle was saved for episode 3. And at that point, you get there, and if it was anything else happening, there'd be moments of tension. You'd be sitting there on the edge of your seat wondering, oh my gosh, is he going to make it out of this situation? What's that going to mean? Oh man, what's going to happen next? Is this going to be something that we have to worry about later on? And at the end of the day, if you really are intellectually honest with yourself, you know the answer to that question. Oh, yeah, wait a minute. Duh, of course he makes it out. He's not due to die here. He dies on the beach. And that's the problem. So, how do you build tension around a character who every pitched situation he's in, every tense time that he is captured, there's no tension around him? He just exists. He is going to plot armor his way through whatever situation he happens to be caught in, and then move on to the next seemingly crazy situation he's caught in, and then ends up dead on the beach. Why it's different with Andor than with the Skywalker saga and Darth Vader when they did the prequel trilogy is people really wanted to know about Darth Vader. He was this mysterious black figure covered completely head to toe in a suit of armor. He had this big plot reveal to be a major part of the protagonist's life that we didn't realize or know about. And then we had no idea how his rise and fall happened, and we were curious about that. With Andor, he was kind of a scumbag. When you meet him in Rogue One, first thing he does is get some key information he needs from an informant, then proceeds to shoot the guy in the back. Yeah, okay, cool. I don't remember hearing a lot of clamor for, hey, I want to know everything about that guy. Let me know the origins of what it takes to be a backstabber and just an overall bad dude. And that's what they're giving us. And it reaches a problem on twofold. I think it's just bad story writing or lazy because they're going to tried and true characters, people they don't have to develop or come up with new ideas. And ultimately, that's just not doing the fans any real service. They have a lot that they could have worked with in this series, and there's an element of things that they are working with pretty effectively, but they could have done things a lot better. And what I mean by that is they have an incredibly intriguing character in Stellan Skarsgård and what that character represents. He is a very interesting character, seems to be very involved and important to the Rebel effort. And we don't really know him from anything else going on in the universe. There's a lot of fan theories trying to figure out who is he, what was his major involvement, why is he important, what is he going to be involved in later. What they could have done with Andor is created a political drama akin to House of Cards, political movements, crazy plot devices, making it so that we are trying to understand this character and how he relates to everything else going on. And because we don't know his fate, every tense situation could be the last tense situation we get to see him in. Tie it in with Mon Mothma. Bring Andor in as an Easter egg. But making him your title character is a problem because nobody really cares and we know his fate. So at the end of the day, you're asking us to watch this pawn while we're really more curious about what's happening with the rooks and the kings and the knights on the chessboard, and we're watching a pawn be moved around. And yes, it is visually stunning, some of the stuff they've given us. Some of the sequences they've given us are beautiful. But we don't really want that necessarily. Yeah, we can get that, but they could give that to us in any of the shows and things that they're doing. Instead, they're just lazily giving us bad story. The other side of this that I find just bothersome, and nobody really talks about this, is while I do appreciate a level of the realism and feeling like the Star Wars combat is actually combat and not just some fantasy nonsense where no one ever gets hurt and the lasers, yeah, they make a little static and sparks, but they're not really impactful. You know, the Star Destroyers and the ship combat actually feels like it's moving through a space as opposed to, you know, I've got some moves and he's just drifting to the left as in A New Hope that they made fun of in Family Guy. Just don't mind me. I'm distracting myself and crashing into things while I talk to you. What they are doing in the Disney crop of Star Wars, and this is true of their new trilogy, from The Force Awakens all the way through The Last Skywalker, or Rise of Skywalker, and what they're doing in Andor is, while I understand that war is ugly, there is something nice about Star Wars in the sense that they did have good guys and bad guys. It was nice to have a contrast and a juxtaposition of the light versus the dark. And when they are sitting there making everything gray, because the people who must be writing for it have no hope themselves, it takes away a little bit of what made Star Wars kind of special. It's nice to have clearly defined good guys and bad guys. Listening to, or trying to sympathize with a character who is a scoundrel, a scumbag, and not really redeemable in the same way that Han Solo was, It's really hard to sit there and then say, I want to be a part of that group. I want to enjoy that story. Yeah, we can get some visually stunning sequences, but at the end of the day, if you have no hope and if you're not enjoying the ride because the lines are easy to root for, it takes a lot away from it. So, and they did that in the new trilogy. They tried to introduce you to a new cast of characters, and there's a way that you could have passed the torch. If you're going to just be lazy in your story writing and copy the original plot points and story point progression from the original trilogy, line for line just about, you could do that, pass the torch, give us a new cast of characters to fall in love with, or try to make us fall in love with. But then when you proceed to do that and kill everything that made the original special, just for the sake of doing it, because hey, this is ours now. Watch us take everything that you know and love, and you're gonna have to love this because all those people you care about, they're not here anymore. Oh, like my character in this position because we told you to, and if you don't, there's something inherently wrong with you. So, I'm not saying they're doing that here with Andor, but what they're definitely doing with Andor that's a mistake is they've really given it too dark a tone that takes away from the hope. It's too much gray, too much, hey, this character is wholly unlikable, but you have to like him because he's the title character. And Andor himself is incredibly pointless, whether you agree with me or not. This is my opinion. First time back in a while. I know you guys are sitting there just after Thanksgiving and saying, oh my gosh, Florida Man Gaming, they've posted a video for the first time in 5 months, and you're probably thinking, oh, great. Well, I'll tell you what, my family was tired of hearing me rant about Star Wars. I figured I would give it to you, the internet. Enjoy. If you have thoughts, suggestions, I'm kind of rambling. I understand that. I'm a little out of practice in, content creation here. But I welcome, thoughts. If you want to have a debate, I'll leave my Discord information in the description. You guys can reach out to me either via DM or we can figure out a server somewhere and we can hash it out. I can maybe better define my thoughts if something didn't come fully across. I'm trying to take a lot of different frustration I have with the Disney Star Wars experience and lump it into one situation. And that's not to say everything they've done is bad. Like I said, Rogue One, visually stunning, accomplished a tidy mission. It got from point A to point B, did its job, and left us not wanting anything more. Gave us some fun pieces that we could enjoy, gave us some fun Easter eggs that we could look at and say, oh my gosh, that's so cool, we're going to see that guy in the next movie. And closed up a giant plot hole that people have been complaining about for decades. The Mandalorian, fantastic because, again, the character is brand new to us. He's not a part of the main timelines. We don't know his fate. So anytime he is in a suspenseful situation, anytime there's a possibility that he could fail and that failure could be catastrophic, there's gravity to it. Book of Boba Fett, just a really great continuation, taking a loved character, reintroducing him, giving him new depth and meaning, and then also keeping the other story going. But Obi-Wan, not great, if you ask me personally. Just really didn't hit any of the major notes it probably wanted to. As much as I had initially thought this is going to be a show I want to see, it also, like Andor, a little too dark, a little too hopeless, and honestly it just feels kind of pointless with where it's ended up. Andor could have been better. It could have been a Rebellion Rising show, and then Andor's a cool little side character like they did with Saw Gerrera. But instead, Disney doing the Disney thing, they're either brilliant or they're not. And in my mind, Andor, as beautiful as it is a not. But, again, that's my 2 cents thrown in every direction because that's how I kind of go when I'm stream of consciousness. You're welcome to disagree. You're welcome to have your own thoughts. Please feel free to shoot back and forth. But with that, I won't take any more of your time. This is Furyan from the Florida Man Gaming, signing off for now.